Sean Strickland will regret having this falling out with Eric Nicksick.
I don't think that's an overreaction. I think because it's a little bit hard at this point in your career. I mean, Eric Nicksick, Sean Strickland won the championship with Eric Nicksick in his corner. So I understand Eric Nicksick's frustration. It's in the moment. He's trying to will his fighter on and trying to, get him amped up after he's clearly down in the fight. And he just didn't see it out of Sean Strickland. But didn't Sean Strickland fight the way Sean Strickland always fights? Am I missing something? Like, I know it's like sometimes if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. And that's kind of the style that he's beat Nasruddin Imavov with, who's a top contender right now. It's the style he used to beat Israel Adesanya. So I don't know if I saw anything too different from Sean Strickland. I understand Eric Nicksick's frustration that after you're down a couple of rounds against a guy you've already fought, right? I think this is where the frustration lies. It's like you've already fought Dricus for 5 rounds. You expect probably a better Sean Strickland, right? So for Eric Nicksick to see Strickland kind of put on a performance like that after, getting a taste of what Dricus had to offer. I feel like Dricus, maybe if there's one thing I can point out that was different in his performance is the kicks. He looked very good with his kicks, mixed it up very well. But outside of that, he didn't throw anything crazy at him that we hadn't seen before. So I understand where Eric Nicksick has come from. But no, I don't think it's an overreaction then that Sean Strickland would regret it, because trying to change something now at this point in your career after having a corner man like Eric Nicksick, who's not just a corner man, because this is somebody who was a very good friend of his. I know he said we're going to stay friends, but it's a little bit weird to have a fallout like that and say, all right, this guy's still going to stay a very good friend of mine, but won't be in my corner. So
yeah, it's awkward.
It's awkward. Exactly. So I don't think it's an overreaction, actually. And I do believe that he will regret it. Do I believe that it's necessarily going to happen? I don't know. I feel like it's a heat of the moment type of thing.
I mean, you want Eric Nicksick in your corner. I mean, he's one of the best minds in the game.
Absolutely.
And I had said leading up to the fight, I had said, I figured Eric would put all of his heart and soul and his mind into the preparation for this fight, right? Would have studied that fight, the first fight with Dricus, repeatedly, and would have studied it, would have had adjustments for Sean to make. And you can hear that frustration in his voice, right? In between those rounds during the fight, he was definitely frustrated that Sean wasn't really doing anything different. I think part of the problem here, Farah, you tell me if I'm wrong, but maybe Eric hears Sean talk such a big game, talk like he's going to do something different. Maybe he buys into this whole, to the death talk and all that stuff. Not literally like, oh, hey, let's just, fight like crazy, but like we've got stuff in the works. He's talking like he's going to do something different. Don't you think maybe Nicksick was also thrown off by that?
Perhaps. I mean, what do we see?
Overhype, under deliver, right? Overhype, under deliver is what it was.
Yeah, and what do we hear and see from Sean Strickland in sparring, right? It almost seems like what we see and hear from him in sparring is probably him going harder than he does in the fight, right? If that makes any sense. So I understand where Nicksick is coming from. He sees his guy constantly in the gym, always down to spar guys. I know a lot of fighters have a different perspective on sparring and trying to limit that, but Sean Strickland goes so hard in practice. He's there every day. He's helping other guys. So you see that version of him in the gym. You're talking about one of the hardest workers, right? A guy who lives at the gym. You kind of expect to see in the fight. So it kind of almost didn't translate in that regard. And I think that's where the frustration mainly lies, is the fact that we've already fought this guy before. We're supposed to make adjustments. We were supposed to have learned stuff. It was split decision, a fight Sean Strickland believed he won. For it to go the second time around that way can definitely be frustrating.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to ask you one last question real fast here. Put you on the spot a little bit. Do you think Sean Strickland will fight for a UFC title again, especially if he doesn't have Eric Nicksick in his corner?
No, I don't believe so.
No. All right. I agree with you there. So no overreaction on that part.
No.
MMA Junkie AI.